Welcome, viewers. We are investigating the longest, bloodiest war in all of human history. Billions of dollars were spent to buy peace, yet every modern treaty has failed completely. Why do these efforts fail? Because you cannot use a treaty to break an ancient family curse. The modern conflict in the Middle East is just a bloody feud between two ancient brothers. To understand this war, we must open sacred texts and return to the harsh desert of Genesis. Look at these diplomatic rooms, where global leaders try to fix the broken Middle East. Countless peace agreements like Camp David and Oslo have been signed, only to burn into ashes. Billions in foreign aid vanish into thin air, leaving behind only blood and ruined cities. The Western political system is completely powerless against a spiritual contract sealed in blood. This is not a normal dispute over land, water, or oil resources as many people think. It is an eternal cycle of vengeance, rooted deeply within the DNA of two ancient nations. To find the source of this fire, we must travel back 4,000 years into the deep past. We arrive at the camp of Abraham, the great patriarch respected by Jews and Muslims today. God promised Abraham a son, but the wait was long, and his wife Sarah grew very impatient. Genesis records that Sarah offered her Egyptian servant, Hagar, to her husband for a child. This single decision, born of human doubt, became the fatal catalyst for endless global war. Hagar gave birth to a boy named Ishmael, who would soon become the father of the Arab tribes. But 14 years later, a miracle happened, and Sarah finally gave birth to her son, Isaac. Isaac was chosen as the child of the covenant, the ancestor of the modern Jewish population. The camp was no longer peaceful, as toxic jealousy began to poison the heart of aging Sarah. According to ancient texts, Sarah demanded that Abraham expel the servant and her young boy. Abraham was devastated, but divine instruction told him to listen to his wife and let them go. Early in the morning, he gave Hagar some bread and water, sending them away into the wild. Imagine the heartbreak of a father watching his firstborn son walk away into the deadly heat. Hagar wandered aimlessly in the brutal desert, the sun scorching her exhausted and weak body. When the water ran out, she placed Ishmael under a dry bush, unable to watch her child die. She walked away, collapsed on the burning sand, and wept loudly in the silence of the dry dunes. But God heard the crying boy and sent an angel to rescue them from the jaws of certain death. The angel revealed a well of water, saving them and making a massive promise to the mother. Ishmael would survive, grow strong in the wilderness, and become the leader of a great nation. He became an expert archer, living in the desert of Paran, surviving against all harsh odds. However, the trauma of exile and the bitter sting of rejection never left his deep bloodline. If you were cast out to die, would your descendants ever forgive the ones who stayed behind? This brings us to the most chilling revelation hidden within the 16th chapter of Genesis. Open the spiritual dossier to verse 12, where the angel predicted the fate of Ishmael. The text reads, "He will be a wild donkey of a man. His hand will be against everyone around. And everyone's hand will be against him, living in hostility toward all his brothers." This is a shocking prophecy, describing a fierce, untamable nature driven by survival. Look at the tactical map of the Middle East and watch how this ancient curse unfolds today. The descendants of Ishmael, the Arab nations, surround the tiny state of Israel on all sides. But the conflict is not just Arabs and Jews, it is also a brutal war within the Arab world. Sunnis fighting Shiites, civil wars in Yemen, and constant instability across the whole region. His hand against everyone. The prophecy perfectly maps out thousands of years of dark history. The wilderness shaped Ishmael into a warrior, and that fierce spirit runs deep in his descendants. Meanwhile, Isaac's descendants inherited the land, heavily guarded by modern military power. Two nations, born from the same patriarch, forever locked in a deadly struggle for their right. Every rocket fired and every bomb dropped today echoes the cries of a mother in the harsh desert. You cannot negotiate peace when both sides believe they are executing the divine will of God. The Iron Dome intercepts missiles above, while ancient hatred burns fiercely on the ground below. Western diplomats fail because they treat this as politics, ignoring the deep spiritual root. Abraham's lack of faith created an earthquake that is still shaking the entire world right now. We are witnessing the tragic butterfly effect of a single mistake made inside an ancient tent. Many modern scholars agree that the bloodline connection makes the violence exceptionally cruel. Family feuds are always the most destructive because the deep betrayal feels incredibly personal. Ishmael feels robbed of his birthright, while Isaac fiercely protects the covenant he was handed. Can any human treaty erase the trauma of a child abandoned by his own father to die? This unresolved trauma has morphed into terrorism, extremism, and endless military strikes. Look at the Temple Mount, a tiny piece of land claimed by both Judaism and Islam today. It is the exact spot where Abraham went to sacrifice his son, binding the two faiths forever. The flashpoint of the apocalypse is centered right on this ancient altar of stone and blood. While the children of Isaac and Ishmael breathe, the sands of the Middle East will run red. No United Nations vote can ever undo what was done by Sarah and Abraham millennia ago. The wild donkey prophecy remains unbroken, proving the terrifying accuracy of the Bible. We see tanks rolling through ruined streets, but we are looking at a biblical family feud. Every failed peace summit is just another chapter in the agonizing story of Genesis. The blood of the patriarchs flows through the veins of every soldier fighting on this battlefield. They are brothers locked in a room, armed with deadly weapons, unable to forgive or forget. The spiritual DNA of this region is encoded with survival, rejection, and divine promise. It is the ultimate tragedy of human history, orchestrated by impatience and sealed by fate. This conflict of blood will not end until the sky splits open and the final trumpet sounds. The map of the Middle East zooms out, leaving the burning desert and tracking north into the dark. We leave behind the ancient tents of Abraham and move toward a modern city glowing at night. The cycle of violence between Arabs and Jews is preparing to trigger an unprecedented event. Just a short distance north of Israel lies an ancient city that has never been destroyed. It is one of the oldest, continuously inhabited settlements on the entire face of the planet. But the ancient prophets saw a terrifying vision regarding the ultimate destiny of this place. According to Isaiah, it will suddenly cease to be a city and become a dark heap of ruins. In one single night, the lights will be extinguished by a catastrophic military strike. The tension we see today is pushing the world closer to the fulfillment of this absolute doom. Will it be a nuclear warhead, a massive earthquake, or an assault from multiple armies? The destruction of this metropolis will signal the start of the end times for all humanity. Which nation is about to be wiped off the map in a blink of an eye, according to Scripture? The ancient matrix of prophecy is shifting, aligning exactly with the headlines of tomorrow. The fuse has been lit in the desert, and the explosion will soon consume the northern horizon. You are watching the Bible unfold right now, written in the blood of those who forgot the past. Prepare yourself for the next revelation, decoding the darkest chapter of the ancient texts. Tap the screen right now to uncover the horrifying truth behind the destruction of Damascus. So, is this eternal war truly a divine curse, or just the tragic result of man's impatience? Will peace ever happen, or is the apocalypse unavoidable? Tell us your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, please like, share, and subscribe for more content.